Hey traders, the Chart Guys Swing Report newsletter is currently live. In the description of this video, there are two links. The first is to the sign up page where you can also get emailed an example of a previous copy. And the second is to an in-depth video to let you know exactly what the Swing Report entails. Appreciate your attention. Let's get on to the charts. Hey traders, checking in on the market, and today I would define as cracks showing in the tech sector's armor. So we know the tech sector has been extremely strong. Microsoft reported earnings yesterday after hours, and the tech sector pulled back pretty significantly today. There was also some help with some Apple headlines, Apple being investigated for XYZ, and Apple giving us that very clear break. I think I talked about it in one of these videos. Sometimes it's hard for me to determine or remember whether I talked about something on one of these videos or whether I talked about it live streaming with the Chart Guys. But I think I talked about the importance of this Apple setup and the fact that we had not closed below this exponential 12-period support in 3+ months, tightening daily range, double top at 397. Your break of support to confirm a daily downtrend for me was 383.36, and then you confirm the follow-through by breaking 375.51, and that also breaks the pattern of a higher low every single week. So here we are in weekly consolidation heading into earnings next week. Big bear day on Apple, very clearly. So with that, we saw the tech sector drop significantly, and for the most part, the healthcare and financial sector were holding on just fine. And then at about 1:35 p.m., that changed, and that's when the weakness accelerated in the S&P 500. So S&P 500 here, SPY, pretty much a $2 range all day. And we hit a new low of the day, but no significant follow-through. Bounce attempt, and then right here at about 120, we went from a $2 range, and there's a $4.50 drop real fast. That's when things got ugly. And if you look at the financial sector was holding on just fine, and we were still keeping a 5-minute uptrend, and we confirmed the 5-minute downtrend at 140. Look at that bare volume, and then look at the dump that resulted from that. And if we look at the healthcare sector, when did its weakness start? 110 is when it started, at 115. So a little bit of a window where it was pretty much healthcare started seeing weakness to join the tech sector weakness. So SPY saw another leg down, and then the financial sector, maybe 10-15 minutes later, started its weakness. And next thing you know, all three sectors showing weakness at the same time, all dropping at the same time, which is the shift from QQQ down and healthcare and financial up and vice versa over the last 3 days. That changed at about 1:30 p.m. Eastern today. And again, that's when the S&P 500 weakness accelerated to the downside. So where do we stand big picture? Daily consolidation underway for SPY. And we know I would consider everything above 312 a daily higher low. So we were down 1.2% today. And I would say we can still pull back 3%, 4%, and a little bit less than that, 3%. So 3% to still maintain the daily uptrend. So that means it needs to be more than a one-day event. We need to see increasing bear volume. We need to see significant downside. And if we don't see that, we're going to anticipate the S&P 500 will form a daily higher low compared to 312. The question from here is it pullback that is brief enough to favor continuation? Or is it pullback that is significant enough to favor a lower high being the result of that next bounce? IWM, bull break today because the financial sector and healthcare sector were strong this morning, but gave that back, no follow through. We're getting a little bit choppy here on the daily time frame. Not a whole lot going on in IWM bigger picture. Most important short-term level for me remains 145.15. So QQQ, big drop day, all-time high, low, tight range, broke bullish, but we failed to break the all-time high, and now we're heading back down towards supports. So 255.62 and 252.76 are the most important levels, and if they break, we confirm a daily downtrend, which means zoom out, and weekly consolidation will be underway. So there's a potential playoff of these supports. If we were to start week with this hourly RSI in the low 20s, you know, we have earnings for this sector next week, but there may be a potential play off of this support for QQQ and other names. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon was a big red day today, but look at the daily chart for Amazon. 29.18 is our higher low on the daily. And if 29.18 holds, we remain in a tightening daily range. So I will have interest first thing tomorrow morning because hourly RSI on Amazon would again be low 20s testing that support level, that's my kind of bottom fish in oversold conditions. So we'll see where we stand tomorrow morning, but there are some support levels in the tech sector to be watching first thing for a potential bullish entry off of those levels, and obviously it will stand out if those levels were to break. Healthcare sector is keeping up its non-flashy, higher low and higher high everyday pattern over the last 4 days, 5 days. New all-time high today. And again, tons of space for a daily higher low when we lose the pattern of a higher low every day. Financial sector got a bull break today, but no real follow through. We had a little double top, 2440, 2443. We broke it up to 2447, but again, it's not convincing follow through at this point. Daily higher low is 2375, so that's the most important support level for me. But if we're going to see that kind of weakness in tech, we need to see a solid green day in the financial sector if it's going to be offset in the S&P 500, and we didn't see that, so obviously it wasn't offset today, and SPY was down over 1%. The biotech sector lost a little support level at 114.56. 109.79 is now the most important level. 3 days of pullback at this point. Has the hourly RSI, well, I thought it would be more beat up than this. These little bounces on the way down, these bear flags, have cooled off that RSI, so we're only now just getting oversold. So 109.79, very key level, and if we pull back more from here, even if 109.79 were to hold, we would then be watching for the potential of a head and shoulders. And the VIX seeing some green today. Again, just looking for a daily lower high compared to 33.70 at the moment. And we'll watch to see if the bulls are able to change the trend in their favor because the daily downtrend has been consistent. So that's it for stocks. Couple support levels in play tomorrow. We'll see what the S&P 500 futures chart does overnight. And again, daily consolidation. No red flags on the S&P 500. At this point, we would need to see bearish reactions out of Apple, Amazon, and our other big tech names next week if we're going to see this weakness have legs, in my opinion. The dollar is still weak. No bounce in sight just yet. 4-hour downtrend, very clear. 4-hour exponential resistance rejecting the price. And I'll be curious to see if the dollar bounce is marked by money leaving the stock market. Because this today was, I was going to say it's one of the bigger bounces we've seen recently, but these have been comparable. So I take that back. But it is still something I'm going to be watching for. Hawk just got something right out the window. So the hawk must have made a dive at a vole sticking its head out of the hole. Because the hawk was jumping and clawing at the dirt, and he flew away with nothing, and I went out there, and there's clearly a bunch of tunnels all around. So back to the dollar. We're looking for a bounce on the dollar daily, and we're looking for a daily lower high to be the result of that bounce, but I'm going to be curious to see if that's going to be marked by a bit more pullback in the market. We'll see. Gold and silver keeping strength for the most part. Nice follow through for gold. 4-hour uptrend still intact. Hourly uptrend still intact. We started this morning with a pullback, but it was just an hourly high or low. So the hourly uptrend is our short-term guide on gold. But the miners pulled back today, and we'll look at that in just a second. Silver, a little bit more toppy, but still a 4-hour uptrend. Bears have proving to do, and they're not proving it just yet. And we know that when we do lose the pattern of a higher low every day, we're just going to zoom out and look for the daily higher low. And we'll be watching for first hourly oversold conditions in the metals to be a potential solid bounce play to look for that daily higher low. But the miners pulled back pretty hard. And the miners started with some weakness this morning first thing, but when gold gave us that hourly higher low in continuation, this is what the miners did, and they saw a higher high as well over the high of yesterday, but a big drop into the end of the day. And again, miners impacted by the S&P 500 as well as the metals, and that had something to do with it absolutely on that pullback. I didn't trade the miners. I wasn't trading much today. I was dripping sweat out in the yard doing some yard work, but now we're looking for a daily higher low in these miners, and we'll be watching for first hourly oversold conditions, and I take that back because it looks like down at the low of the day, that hourly RSI was probably right around 30 or so. Oil, weakness today, but still in a daily uptrend. The most important level is 39.97. And if we're going to see all-out weakness, again, we want to see our major sectors dropping at the same time. we want to see oil losing the daily uptrend, and that would lead us to looking for significant weakness in the S&P 500. But as long as the daily uptrends remain, we know every period of consolidation, absent significant bear volume, referring to the broader market, we're just looking for a daily high or low. So if I'm going to look at this daily chart and say, I'm not looking for a daily high or low, I need to start seeing some more red days and more than 20-day average bear volume start to print. As we know, one day is not enough. On to natural gas. So bounce still underway, looking for a daily lower high to form compared to 1758. And I almost just said I may look for an entry on a daily high or low, but then I remembered my New Year's resolution, not trading natural gas in 2020, as it was one of my bigger losers in 2019. And I'm going to stick with my winners and ditch the losers. And the winner this year is clearly trading Tesla. That's what I was doing today. A couple flips of Tesla in both directions, taking advantage of that volatility. And I'm going to stick with that because it's been working. So that's where we stand overall. Notable bear day. Couple support levels to be watching tomorrow on some tech names. And the most important thing, again, tomorrow for me will be, are we seeing all three sectors drop at the same time? And if not, we're going to be looking for SPY to give us just a healthy daily high or low. I appreciate you all watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day and a good weekend. We'll see you next week. So the ongoing saga of the ducks. So I moved in here about 13 months ago, and last spring there was a daddy duck who I thought was a female for a long time, but it was a male wood duck, and he was raising 7 babies after his partner was taken out by a predator, and this female was one of them, and I can tell by the way she interacts and trusts me. And she came back here with a mallard, which has a big green head, and wood ducks and mallards will interbreed. And they were here in the fall checking out the spot, decided this was going to be their spot, and they were hanging out all spring. Then one day she came limping back, and it was clear something got her. And then after not being here at the pond for weeks, she stayed here overnight, and it was really cold for a few nights those nights, so I assumed if there was a nest, any of the eggs would have died, and I assumed that a predator had gotten her and the nest that she was sitting on at that point in time. So they hung out here for a long time longer, and they were doing it again, so I figured they would give it another attempt. Then they disappeared for another month. Haven't seen them in a long time, and she showed back up yesterday. Saw her sitting in the tall grass with some fuzzy baby heads sitting all around her. So we got 3 babies. We're down to 3 turkey babies. And the turkey mom did not like one of the 4th babies. Not sure why she abandoned it, but she did. So 3 turkey babies and 3 duck babies. And that's where we stand now. Now it's time to build up some trust.